my goodness, happy Monday. I know I am a little earlier than normal, but I got my kids situated. I'm in the middle of like a stopping point with my cleaning, so I wanted to go live here real quick before I jumped on to my next task. So don't mind me, I do have a pile of clean bedding behind me because I'm full on laundry mode. Laundry Mountain ain't got nothing on me today. But I wanted to hop in here today and just share live again because this is what I want to bring you guys every Monday and every Friday. I want to bring you value. I want to bring you some insight, maybe some like life lessons that I'm learning along the way, because let me just be honest, I'm not a professional. I do not know all the things. I'm not a know-it-all or whatever. I'm struggling through these things. I'm learning as I go, and that's just what I want to bring to you. Some real life experience and lessons that I've learned that maybe could improve your life or maybe add value in some way today. So that's what I want to bring you when I do these live videos every single time. Your support, you watching, you commenting, you sharing, you loving, like that means the world to me, and that allows me to know that I'm doing something that you like. So if you ever have suggestions on what you want me to speak on or different topics, or if something really speaks to your heart, please send me a message. Let me know. I'm happy to cover topics that you want to hear because I want to add value into your life. But anyways, about today's topic, we're talking all about marriage because let's be honest, marriage is hard. No, marriage isn't hard. Living and growing with someone, living and going through life with someone, that's hard. Understanding a different person, that's hard. Being raised two separate ways and coming together as one to grow your family, that's really, really hard. And this last week, so let's just like spill it all, I guess. One thing my mom always raised me to do was never talk about my struggles or my issues with other people. So let's say, for example, Kenny did something that hurt my feelings, or like it was something silly. Maybe he always leaves the fridge wide open, something silly, like just simple. Something silly such as that, and it just bothers me. My mom always taught me you don't go running around talking smack about your spouse or your significant other, because, for example, if I constantly went to my best friend and I said, oh, I hate Kenny because he does this, or he makes me crazy because I do this, he does this, or whatever, all he's hearing is the negative talk. And so what's her impression of him going to be? Well, it's going to be negative, because that's literally all that I'm telling her every single day is a negative talk. So please know, as I come here sharing parts of my marriage, parts of our struggles, I am not talking bad about my husband ever. I love him dearly so much, and I think that's also like a huge part of our journey, is we've had to learn to grow together. We've had to learn to like figure out our issues together and really embrace and love one another regardless. If you do not know, we dated when I was in high school. He had just graduated, and that's where our love story kind of started. And at that point in time, we were totally different people. We were very immature. We didn't really know how to talk to each other or how to go through situations because we both had different home lives. And so trying to learn how to work through that with someone, that's really, really hard. And we both made some big mistakes. We both hurt each other. And we ended up breaking up when I went to college. And I can sit here and give you excuses and reasons and all these things and tell you the bad things that he did, the bad things that I did, and why we're so perfect. And I'm not going to do that because we're not perfect. And we had to learn through those. And just like that, just for like we had to for us, you need to do that for you and your situation. So we had a falling out, hurt people, and we broke up. And we broke up for about 8 months, roughly, I think, 8 months. And then we realized like, okay, yeah, it was hard when we were together because we were both stubborn pain in the asses, if we're being honest. It was hard when we were together, and we both hurt each other and both made really bad decisions. But it was even harder going through life without your best friend. And so we eventually got back together. We eventually decided, like, I want to figure this hard stuff out with you because I know life without you just isn't that great. Like, I'd rather go through hard with you, and I'd rather struggle and learn together than not have you at all. And so that began us rekindling and rebuilding this relationship that we have. So if you ever look at my relationship and like, oh, they're so perfect, they're so awesome, we've had our fair share of mistakes. We've had our fair share of fighting and arguing and struggling really, really bad. But the one thing that we've always been very adamant about is fighting for each other, is doing what we can to make this work, because we truly love each other as best friends. And I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to a marriage, is you have to be very intentional with the love that you have with the person that you're dealing with. Because again, it's going to go back to the last video that I did talking about love languages and personalities. Everybody is so different. So learning to like merge that and like find it together, that's really, really hard. But why I want to bring up marriage is because I'm listening to this podcast series. It is the Leadership Podcast by John Maxwell, and the title of this one is A Family Portrait, I'm pretty sure. If you want, after this live video, just send me a message and let me know that you want the link to the record or the link to the podcast. I will send it your way. But it is so good. I listened to both parts of the series today, and I'm like in tears. I'm like, amen, yes, and like it's just so enlightening, and it was like the refresher that I needed. Like, okay, we've been struggling because we haven't been being intentional with our time. Something that I've always done, I'm a quality time kind of person. I want time with people that I love. Like, it is my love language. When I spend time with you, I feel closer to you. When I get to make memories and just be around you, I feel closer to you. It's just how I am. So if Kenny and I aren't getting a lot of time together, I start getting like snippy and mean and resentful, and then I get annoyed because he has this to do and this to do and this to do. And if I don't watch my behavior, and if I don't watch the intentionality that I have with him and the time that I have with him, it really can cause issues in our marriage, because then when I don't feel loved, I don't give love, which is a total fail on my part. Because in any relationship, like I said on my live video, is that you should be giving 100% with zero expectations. But sometimes when I feel unloved, I realize that I expect 100 and I give 0. And so I've always been that person. I'm the person, we have a box of dates from like 4 years ago that I made because I didn't think we got enough quality time together. We didn't go on dates. We don't do things like that. Like, we don't do that. And so I made this huge Christmas box with all these dates, with the expectations that if I give this box of ideas to him, he will want to spend more time with me. Well, let me tell you, friends, we still have that box of dates from 4 years ago that we haven't used. And yes, over time we've used some of them, but we haven't used them because we are not intentional with our time. And so I think that's just it. Like, I give this gift to him because I expect him to do something with it. I expect him to use it to want to spend more time with me because he loves me. But quality time is not his love language. Go play, you goofy. Quality time is not his love language. And so that's just not something that ever crosses his mind. And so in the past couple years, we've had to be very intentional. One, I have to learn to speak my feelings, which is very hard for me. And I have to let him know, like, this is how I'm feeling. This is why I feel that way. But we're also trying to be very intentional with our time. The last 2 years, we've said, date nights every week, date nights every week, date nights every week. Like, that's been a thing that we are striving for so hard. But yet somehow we still fail because life happens. Right now we are in a crazy busy season, if you can't tell, where our kids are young and they need us. And we have things popping up and we're both trying to discover what makes us happy, what we need to do for our own happiness. So we're in this huge limbo of trying to be the best version of us so that we can be the best version for our kids, so that we can create those family values and tradition from the get-go, so that our kids feel necessary and needed, so our kids feel the love and feel they know that mom and dad love each other. They know that mom and dad are affectionate, and like we have this relationship that is something to be valued. And I tell you all this for reasons. But anyways, I've been feeling like we have not been getting that time together because, let's just be real. Life happens. Things happen. He ends up going fishing. I end up getting busy. I have a work call. Like, all these different things. Our kids need something. There's a ball game. Something pops up. And instead of being very intentional with every Sunday night we decided we were going to sit down and do our week review. You want to know how many times we've done that? actually one. We did the first planning one, and we haven't done one since. And I'm like, I thought we made that, like, I thought we said we were going to do this, but the problem is we said it, but we were not intentionally following through. Just like date nights. We say we want those date nights together. We say that we're going to do it weekly, but we're not following through with that. And I'm not coming on here to tell you our problems, because that's not it. But what I'm trying to show you is that for a good relationship, you have to be very intentional with those things, and you have to set those boundaries, and you have to stick to them. So I told you, like, I was feeling very unloved, very, like, not necessarily wanted by him, because we weren't getting that quality time that I need. And so I said, okay, my life's crazy, I'm super overwhelmed, and I'm overwhelmed. I figured it out. My trigger was that I was not getting time with him. So what are we going to do to fix that? How are we intentionally going to overcome this? Well, date night, of course. So we planned. It was Wednesday, and we planned, okay, tomorrow's date night, the next day's family night. Like, this is what we promised. Like, why are we not following through with it? So that's what we did. We had a date night, and we don't have all the money in the world to be going out, having lavish dates. We still have a budget. We still have a debt goal that we're pushing for, and I'll bring that up here in just a moment. But I realized that quality time was what I was missing, was what we were both missing. And so what did we do? We recognized that, and we immediately set those intentions to fix that problem. And I think that's the biggest thing in marriage. Instead of really working through the issues and being very intentional with your love and with the situations, we just let it go by. And instead, what we could have done was say, oh, we're not getting quality time, like, let's set up a date night next week, or maybe we'll find a babysitter, and then nobody follows through. Instead of that, instead of just waiting for life to happen for us in our date night, we were very intentional with it. We said, okay, we're not getting time together, let's set a date night. Let's get things when we go shopping for a date night. Let's tell the kids. Like, we are very adamant. I know that I'm going to have parents who are like, well, my kids don't sleep, whatever. I can't do that. Whatever. We tell our kids, like, this is mommy and daddy's date night. So that means you go to bed on time early. Like, we have early supper. You go right to bed. You go to bed because mommy and daddy need mommy and daddy time. And it is what it is. And then, of course, like, do we get, like, pushback from them? Of course. That's not fair. I don't get date nights either. You're going to get it because they're kids. They just want your attention too. And I think that's so, so important. So, of course, we reminded them, tonight's mommy and daddy date night. Your date night's tomorrow. And it's just being very like, okay, bedtime routine, give them hugs and kisses. Okay, mommy and daddy are going to go have our date night. And it's being intentional with the mommy and daddy have to come first. If mommy and daddy don't love each other, how can we love you? Well, we can't. It is what it is. So that's what we did. Instead of letting date night eventually fall into place, we were very intentional with that situation. And I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to marriage is people are not intentional with fixing the problems. People are not intentional with their needs, with their love, with the relationship. Instead, we let our kids come first. Instead, we let helping other people come first. Instead, we let work come first, whatever that may be. And I know you guys follow me long enough now, like, you know that I run a business from home. And one of our biggest problems is I've got huge, gigantic, big ass goals. Like, that's not a surprise. And so what that takes is a lot of work on my end. And we were having a big problem for the longest time balancing the schedule, because I'm at home with kids, and like working my business at home with kids is super hard. But the setting the business hours and having that time, so what we had to do, we had the problem, how are we going to fix this? Being very intentional, I set work hours. So Monday and Tuesday nights are my work nights. Every other night goes to my family, and it's being very intentional with that love for them. And I'm going to be honest, we fail when it comes to, because I know one of the intentions we set at the beginning of this year was to have time, like a single date night with a kid each week. We failed on that, like, so hard. But that's just it. Like, we're only halfway through the year. At any point in time, we can change that. It's just what we're being intentional with. Are we going to put being lazy at home and watching TV before... Oh, okay. Are we going to watch TV, or are we going to show our children that that time is needed for them, that they matter? Hey. Shh. Okay. Okay, can you time out for a minute? I'm alive. I'm so sorry. This is building a business from home with children. It's just not that easy. But anyways, back to what I'm saying about marriage is in relationships, as I was listening to that podcast today, he talked about the intentionality and what you should give in a relationship if that's what you want to see back. How you should set these certain expectations, these intentions, and you should follow through with them in order to create that life that you want, in order to create the love at home that you want, in order to create the relationship that you want. So many people look at me and they're like, oh, you guys got it all figured out. I wish I had the relationship that you and Kenny do. And I've heard that, and it's the weirdest thing ever, because a lot of the times I want to drop kick my husband, and I know a lot of the times he wants to drop kick me. But it's interesting after listening to this podcast today. It's not because Kenny and I have all our shit together. It's not because we know how to love each other. It's because we've been very intentional about our growth. We came from a point in our relationship where we did not love ourselves and we did not treat each other with love. And it came from that. And we realized that we couldn't live without each other, because that's just not that was just way less happy. And so we learned, worked on how to fix it so that our relationship was something worth fighting for. Because we have problems, we have issues, we have things that happen, we fail. But the thing is, we don't give up when we fail. We're willing to talk about it. We're willing to work through it. We're willing to fix the problem. We're very intentional about our love for each other, about the way we talk to each other. And we're learning in the process. Like, it's still ongoing. We're still learning through it. We still have issues that we have to work through. But I think what I can say is, in the past 2 years, the difference is giving 100% love and having zero expectations. That one's still a work in progress. But we've been very intentional about working through our problems. We're very intentional about showing love for each other. And we're very intentional about learning each other's love language and trying to work through that to appreciate and let the other person know that they are valued in this relationship. Because I know at one point in time, we did not show that. And so the other person, both of us, feel unwanted, unneeded, unnecessary in the relationship. And I know that we still have times where we go through that, like, where I'll just feel like he doesn't even care. And that's not the truth. And I know there's times where he feels like she doesn't even care. And that's not the truth. But it's when we get in those moments, okay, this is how I'm feeling. What are we intentionally going to do to set ourselves up for success? What are we intentionally going to do so that we can be a better couple? Because I know that there's so many people who may not put up with the way that I behave, the things that I do. And there's so many people that wouldn't put up with things that Kenny does. And I know you can look out in any relationship and say, oh, they're perfect. Oh, they're perfect. No, every relationship has problems. Every relationship has struggles. So I don't care if all you're seeing is a highlight reel on Facebook or Instagram where they're just posting pictures like date night, date night, date night. What are they having to do in order to fix that? And just because they're posting a pretty picture of them and their spouse, are they actually showing the love? So I need you, why I say that is I need you to stop comparing your relationship to who you're seeing on social media. I need you to stop comparing your relationship to the girl next door. I wish my husband did this, or I wish my wife behaved that way. I need you to stop comparing and instead be very intentional with what you have. Okay, this is what I need from my relationship. This is what I need to give in my relationship, because the quickest way for someone to change is for you to change yourself first. That's what I had to do. In order for Kenny to love me more, which is insane because he loved me when I didn't love me. In order for him to love and appreciate me more, I had to change who I was. And the thing wasn't that he needed to change. The thing was that I needed to change. I needed to be able to see what I was doing in this situation. I needed to be able to see that I was the one who was causing whatever issue, or I was the one who is not loving, and I was the one who is dropping the ball or failing in that aspect. So if you're in a relationship and you're like, oh my gosh, my husband's the worst or my wife's the worst, something has to change. Friend, it starts with you. You have to start loving yourself. You have to start fixing problems. You have to be willing to talk about your feelings. You have to be very intentional with the goals that you have set for your relationship and what you're going to do to build those up. And I'm not saying all of a sudden you need to go to your spouse and say, that's it, we're having date night every week and it is what it is. If that's what you want, that's totally fine. But instead of demanding something from them, just say, hey, I have a date night planned for this day, and it's going to be a total surprise and it's going to be awesome. And just show them that you care. Show them that it matters to you. Be willing to take the steps of planning and getting all the details, finding the babysitter, all that stuff, because you care about the relationship. Because I know that was one of my biggest faults, is I told Kenny, like, I want to spend more time together. Let's have date nights. But I expected him to plan it. And I expected him to find the babysitter. And I expected him to tell me what he wanted to do and all this stuff. Instead of expecting all that from them, just simply say, hey, I have a date night planned. This is what we're going to do. And then don't even include them in the plans, or if maybe they love planning, let them help you plan it. I don't care. Whatever works better for you. For me, it's just planning it because it makes him feel special that I'm willing to go above and beyond for him. That's just set the intentions and follow through. And I think that's the biggest thing that I need you to walk away from this live video with, is like the problems that you have, they will never be fixed just by sitting back waiting for them to just fall into place. If you want to have a good, happy, lasting marriage, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of love. It takes a lot of gratitude and forgiveness. And it takes a lot of showing up for you and showing up for your spouse. So, anyways, to wrap it up today, if you want that beautiful relationship that you see or whatever, first, stop comparing yourself. But secondly, create that relationship that you love. Talk to your spouse. Have these hard conversations. Let them know how you're feeling. Be willing to do the hard things to fix any problems that you do have. Don't let a big wall of problems build up between you guys. Instead, break it down piece by piece until you're at a place that you can feel loved and appreciated. And if you do want the link to that podcast that I was talking about, the John Maxwell one about the family portraits, please send me a message. Let me know, because I will definitely... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I will definitely send it to you. It is one that you will not want to miss. It is freaking gold. It is amazing. But as always, thank you. I'm so grateful for you to be here listening. It means so much to me that you're taking time out of your day to listen to what I have to say. As always, if you could share, comment, love, whatever, it's so much appreciated. And hopefully this spoke to you. Happy Monday.